about the brouhaha that happened in the Nigerian Senate yesterday between Senator Natasha and the Senate President, Senator Godswill Akpabio. A lot of people had a lot to say about it, but we will not truly understand what really happened if we don't watch the video from a certain place, from where I'm going to play it for y'all. You know, a lot of people said a lot of things that they wanted to shut her up. Some even said that the Senate President was asking her out and she's not, you know, obliging, or she's not agreeing to his advances. That's why, you know, he wants to shut her up. A lot of things were said. But let's watch what really happened before we talk about it. Be patient. It's about 5 minutes long, but after the video, I guarantee you that we will all understand and be clear of what happened. Then we'll talk about it.
Distinguished President of the Senate, order please. Distinguished President of the Senate, distinguished senators, my name is Mohamed Tahir Manguno. I represent Borno North Senatorial District. I am coming under the combined force of Order 6, Rule 2, and Order 24, Rule 2A. Subject to the permission of the President of the Senate, I will read the orders.
Please read.
Order 24, 2A. Order 24 stipulates the duty of the chief whip, and it reads thus: there shall be a chief whip of the Senate. The chief whip shall be a senator nominated from the party with the highest number of seats in the Senate. And 2A said, the chief whip shall maintain order and decorum in the Senate. The duty of the chief whip is to maintain order and decorum. So pursuant to the jurisdiction conferred on the office of the chief whip, for which the chief whip once is desirous of invoking the powers of that office, I will proceed to read Order 6, Rule 2, on page 9 of our rules books. Order 6 states, the President of the Senate shall allocate a seat to each senator. 6.2, a senator may only speak from the seat allocated to him, provided the President of the Senate may change the allocation from time to time.
Please read that again.
Okay.
Is that the President of the Senate
shall... The President of the Senate shall allocate a seat to each senator. Yes. And it went further to state that a senator may only speak from the seat allocated to him, provided that the President of the Senate may change the allocation from time to time. So it is at the discretion of the President of the Senate, as circumstances warrant, to change seats as time goes on, based on circumstances that may pop up in the course of the proceedings of the Senate. And in the course of the proceedings of the Senate, 2 senators from the PDP, that is Senator Ned Nwonko.
Which faction of PDP? Which faction?
And
Senator Dixon's faction. Ababoro.
And also Senator Francis Edenwa of the Labour Party also decamped to APC, thereby necessitating their movement from the other side to this side, thereby creating vast spaces in the opposition side. And then pursuant to that, and in the exercise of the powers conferred on the Senate President, pursuant to Order 6, Rule 2 and 2A, the President of the Senate decided to rearrange this seat, giving directives to the chief whip to exercise that function. And pursuant to that directive, seats were reallocated. And I'm surprised to report that Senator Natasha having given another seat, refused to vacate our former seat in flagrant violation of our rules. So I am craving for, ordinarily I don't want to bring it to the attention of the Senate, but now that Senator Natasha insisted on staying on her former seat in spite of the rearrangement of the seat, I am craving for indulgence to resume the seat that has been lawfully allocated to her pursuant to the provisions of our rules and in the exercise of the powers conferred on the Senate President to resume her new seat. If not, the Senate President may decide to exercise the powers conferred on him not to allow her to contribute to any debate from that seat, thereby depriving her constituency of a voice. Thank you.
Well, distinguished
Please.
Distinguished Chief Whip of the Senate, your point of order is sustained.
Order, please.
Distinguished Senator Natasha, please, you are not recognized to speak from there. That is the order of the Senate.
Sir, order 10 on privileges. Order 10 on privileges.
Distinguished Senator Natasha.
Any senator may rise at any time
can the
to speak upon a matter of privilege suddenly arising, and he shall be prepared to move without.
So now that we've all watched what happened, let's talk about it. Now, in every organization, associations, community, or civilized society, there are rules and regulations, there are guidelines, there are constitutions, there are rules that will keep everybody in check and make us know what we ought to do at every time. So, according to or pertaining to what happened in the Senate with Senator Natasha, so the long and short of everything that happened was that in the House, the Senate President is the one that assigns seats where you sit, where other senators sit in the Senate. He assigns it to the Senate. And how it is structured is that the majority senators, that's the senators from the majority party, they have a section where they sit, maybe on the right or on the left. Then the minority senators, they sit on the other side. Then also senators, according to seniority, how many times you've been a senator and all that determines where you sit, how close you sit to the Senate President in front. Then the executives, that's the leaders of the Senate, the whip, the chief whip, the majority leader, minority leader, and all of them, they sit at the front, while the Senate, President addresses all of them from top and all that. So there is a structure of how they sit. But for every senator, the Senate President assigns or allocates seats where you sit, to you. So in this particular situation, two senators from the opposition parties, that's Senator Ned Nwoko from PDP, decamped to APC, and Senator Francis Ezenwa also decamped from the LP to the APC, which affected where they were sitting. So they had to give them seats with the majority senators because they were in the minority. So they had to move to the majority side of the Senate chamber. So now the president of the Senate, Senator Godswill Akpabio, delegated his powers to the chief whip to allocate and reassign seats to all the affected senators and others. So seats were given to Senator Ned Nwoko and Senator Francis on the majority side. On the minority side, seats were shuffled and reallocated and all that. So Senator Natasha was reassigned or reallocated to another seat from her seat, while they were doing the reshuffling, and other people too were reallocated and reassigned to other seats. But only Senator Natasha did not want to comply with the reshuffle, with the reallocation of seats, which led the chief whip to call the president of the Senate's attention to the situation by reading from their rule book. He read all the things he read was from their rule book. There was, everything is written there, how to assign seats, when to assign, and what to do if those who have been reassigned seats do not comply. And they did that. That was what they did. And one of the things was that if you are not going to take up your new seat, you will not be allowed to speak and represent your senatorial district, which will put your senatorial district at a loss. You will not be allowed to sit to speak until you take up your new position, your legally given position now, your new position. So that was what played out. And after they read all that, the Senate president took that decision, which was within his powers. So it's not a long story or a long talk, because everything had been explained, had been read from their rule book, so we should understand it. The whole talk about trying to shut her up because she's a woman, because he's toasting her or wooing her, and she's not accepting, that's why they're shutting her. All that, to me, from what I watched, is not, all those excuses are not tenable. They are not tenable. So my take is this: Senator Natasha was in the wrong. According to their rule book and everything that they read, she was in the wrong, because if you subscribe to any society, any organization, any association, then you must at all times, obey their rules and regulations. And if you can't, then don't even try to belong to that society, association, civilization, or whatever. If you can't keep to the rules, these are their rules and they applied it. So she was in the wrong for trying to oppose it, trying to, cause all that uproar, brouhaha, and all that. So that's my take. She should have just, in a sitting position, she should have just accepted her seat, her new allocation, like other senators did, because she wasn't the only one. Other senators accepted theirs. And I don't see why she would have, caused all that trouble because of sitting position. So that's my take. Till I come your way next time, please like, share, follow, and do drop your comments. Doing all this will definitely help make the channel grow. See you all next time. Bye-bye.
Silva Squad Channel.